Hey there, this is Amelia here. Welcome to Amelia's crossdressing story. Today we are going to share a story called My Name is Amelia Part 5. For more interesting and exclusive stories, please subscribe to my channel and support me at Patreon. I had forgotten one necessity and I went back into the department store to fix it. I didn't have anything to wear to bed if my vintage set wasn't clean. It was easier to get a backup and I found a really pretty black satin nightgown and robe with a wide lace trim. It was long and sexy but not too fussy. I thought I'd finished my shopping, but there was this short baby doll set on a shop mannequin. It was pale blue and trimmed with a pale beige lace. I had plenty of funds left, so I got that too. Shopping is exhausting and I found Judy had had enough as well. She had 10 bags of stuff and was wearing jeans with a blue silk top and a pair of neat cowboy boots. She'd been made over too and looked smart from top to toe. We adjourned to a cafe for coffee and sweet pastries and we continued our earlier discussion. Made a decision, Ange? Judy looked real cute when she had a quizzical look on her. Her eyes opened a bit wider and her nose seemed to turn up some more. I sighed. I think I have. I've just bought a heap of clothes and not one item was for the late Felix Aronson. The late Felix Aronson? I think he might have died in the fire. Look, Judy, this isn't easy. Or maybe it's too easy. I'm going to be Amelia full-time for a while. If I don't like it or it turns out to be shit, I can be found wandering naked in the forest in a month's time, confused and suffering from a serious bout of amnesia resulting from stress that will almost certainly be cured within a week. I still feel guilty as hell about Nicole, but this is my one chance to see if I can make it. Judy leaned over and kissed me on the mouth. You're a brave girl, Felix Aronson, and that's the last time I'll ever use that name. The fire was a tragedy and I feel guilty for suggesting you had more than one choice this morning. I have a suggestion. Come with me to Las Vegas. Let me make it up to you by helping you out, helping you find yourself. Let's see what we can get out of Jason with a Y and hit the road. You interested? What can I say? I asked her. I have no money unless Jason comes through, I have no clothes even vaguely resembling a guy's and no real identity to fall back on. For better or for worse, I'm Amelia Bauer. No, I'm Angela Victoria Madeline Bauer Trump. So there. A girl is born fully named. Let's go back to the hotel. I can feel some plans coming on. We'd forgotten the limo was still parked outside. The guy helped load the packages and us into the car and I could see him checking us out. Why not? We were two hot chicks and deserved to be inspected. 10 minutes later we pulled up outside the hotel and a flunky came running to help with the bags. I was ready for a nap, but it would be a little while before I could close my eyes. As we got out of the elevator and turned left, we saw that a group of people were standing outside 404. One of them, who just had to be a policeman, was knocking on the door. Jason was among the group. He turned and saw us and tapped the cop on the shoulder. Miss Brightman, Miss Bauer. These gentlemen would like to talk you about Mr. Aronson. Jason looked flustered and even more tired than he had that morning. There was no way out of this. Judy opened the door and invited everyone in. Along with Jason was the hotel manager, whose name I never caught, 2 detectives from Barstow and 1 from Denver, who had the unlikely name of Steven Stevens. Jason made the introductions and everyone inspected Judy and me closely. This had to be about the missing guy from Denver. Jason looked at me more carefully than anyone. I looked radically different from the Amelia Bauer he'd seen earlier and it seemed to be confusing him. Stevens cleared his throat. Miss Bauer, I've been asked to follow up on the disappearance of Mr. Felix Aronson. I understand from Jason that you were with him when the fire broke out? This should be exciting. Yes, I was. We went out together and the last I saw of him he went around the side of the hotel towards the car park. Can you tell me how he was dressed? White nylon nightgown and negligee, full length, lace, painted toenails. I think, yes, he was wearing pajama bottoms. Nothing else. We never got a chance to grab anything other than what we were wearing because the fire was getting hotter all the time. And the color of the pajama bottoms? Navy blue with a white cord. This was all being written down by Stevens and the local cops. I was uneasy but also confident I wasn't going to get recognized, not even by Nicole. May I ask what the nature of your relationship with Mr. Aronson was? We were very close. How close, Miss Bauer? Close enough for us to share a bed. We'd been talking about a permanent relationship. Were you aware that back in Denver Mr. Aronson was engaged to be married? Here it was. The test. Oh my God! You're joking. Engaged? Oh, this is terrible. Are you sure? I don't believe it. I covered my face with my hands and tried to burst into tears. I managed to screw up my face, but tears seemed to be in short supply. Nevertheless, I managed to influence Stevens towards a little sympathy. I'm sorry to be the bearer of this news, Miss Bauer. I see you were unaware of Mr. Aronson's fiancée, and I appreciate how difficult that might be. Miss Shatlock will be here shortly to see if she can help in the search for Mr. Aronson, and I must say I can't see any value in a confrontation between the two of you. Mr. Stevens, I said, I'm already distraught because Felix is missing, probably crushed to death in the hotel ruins. It's bad enough fearing he may be dead without the stress of a fiancé. I'm not sure what to do now. I agree with you that there seems little point in facing up to this woman. I imagine she loved him as much as I did. I want to scream and cry and claw her eyes out, but you're right. Promise me that you'll keep me informed. Promise me that any news will come to me as fast as it does to this other woman. Very well, Miss Bauer. Tell me, do you have any ID? I came out of the fire with nothing but my nightgown, Mr. Stevens. Even that has been burned through with hot ashes, and there's no doubt I wasn't far from dying in there. I wish to God I'd managed to grab my purse, but it was actually on fire when I finally saw where I'd left it on the table in my room. I've lost everything, and that seems to include my lover. Give me a break. I was starting to shake, mainly with the stress of making everything up as I went along, and I'm sure that helped convince Stevens. I gave Jason a sideways glance, and I'm sure I saw tears in his eyes. Judy was looking like she was suppressing a grin. Jason finally spoke again. I think Miss Bauer has had enough questions for now, officer. She is clearly distressed. Can we leave her in peace for a while? I'm sure Miss Brightman will help comfort her. Miss Bauer, you have my promise that if there is any news you will hear it immediately. Can we go, gentlemen? The crowd left the room and Judy said, that went well, all things considered. There was a knock on the door and Judy stalked over to it and flung it open, ready to give whoever it was both barrels. It was Jason, visibly upset. Ladies, I apologize. These people have no finer feelings and I find myself wanting to shout at them. I suppose that wouldn't be fair because they are only doing their jobs. There is lunch being served in the dining room or through room service and you should help yourselves to whatever food and drink you want. There will be no charge for anything. Pick out a nice wine or something stronger. Thank you, Jason, I said. I think we might do that. Jason left us alone. What do you think, Ange? Get out of town before sunset? Can we just hold on for a day while we see where the hotel stands on this? I can smell the faint odor of money wafting up from the management. If this adventure goes into overtime, there could be some serious dollars to be made, possibly by me and Felix. Sure, we can. I have to be in Vegas in 2 days' time, so if you haven't made a call by then I might have to go on ahead. Okay, Judy. Let's go eat. We wandered down to the dining room. There were a few people I recognized from the previous night. Was it only last night? They looked different from the rest of the patrons somehow. We sat and were immediately joined by 2 of the guys I'd spoken to in the street while we waited to see where we would be staying. Do you mind if we join you, girls? I don't think we exchanged names last night. I'm Rob and this is Jeff. We were just talking about how lucky we were to get out. I'm Judy and this is Amelia, said Judy. We've had the same conversation. When you think about how often you get sent onto the street on a false alarm and how it's easy to get cynical about it, it would have been easy just to pretend there was nothing happening and go back to sleep. Agreed, said Jeff. In this case it was the noises that alerted me to something serious. False alarms usually just involve an alarm, but there were bangs and shouts and people running. I woke up to the alarm and my room was already on fire, I put in. Same here, said Judy. Someone banged on my door and that moved me along. I don't think I'll ever sleep naked again, said Rob. I just had the towel. It's lucky it wasn't a cold night. Any word on the missing guy? Asked Jeff. It doesn't look very promising. I hear his girlfriend is coming in from Denver in an hour or so. It's not going to be good for her. I also hear that the fire started in the kitchen and was the result of a negligent act on the part of a hotel employee with a lighted but he threw away. This conversation made me unhappy, as did a whole lot of conversations later on, and for two reasons. One was Nicole and the other was the genuine concern for Felix's welfare. I hadn't planned on that. I was fully aware that it would affect Nicole, but the interest and caring of total strangers really moved me. Judy didn't say anything. A girl came to take orders and after we decided what to eat and ordered drinks we discussed the fire some more. By the way, Amelia, your nightwear has been discussed all over the place today. Even the reporter for the local paper is going to write something about glamour under adversity, said Rob. I blushed. Yes, I noticed that I was overdressed compared to everyone else. It's hard to make a plan for what to wear in an emergency. Perhaps Harper's could do a piece called Fashion for Fires, Don't Get Caught in Your Old Pajamas. They laughed. It was good to talk to these guys who had a huge thing in common with us. We relayed stories we'd heard about naked guys and firemen distracted by a girl wearing only a minuscule thong, but always hanging over the conversation was the missing Felix. We finished lunch and Judy and I headed back to the lobby, intending to go back to our room to freshen up and plan our next move. It was incredibly bad timing, because there was Nicole coming through the front door with her parents, her two brothers and my parents and two of my sisters. This was something I'd hoped to avoid. Having decided to remain Amelia for a little while at least, I had intended to avoid any contact. As it was, they headed past me to the front desk. And although several of the party looked at me, there were no signs of recognition. I scurried toward the elevators. Was that Nicole? Asked Judy. I told her who made up the group. I was shaking and was about to tear my clothes off and run downstairs. Judy saw me starting to cry and put her arms around me, gave me a hug and held me tight. It's okay to change your mind, Ange. You can go and tell them you've recovered your memory and carry on with the life you're used to. If you still want to come to Vegas with me, why don't I get a rental and we can leave right now and get away from all this? We can leave a message for Jason with a Y and just hightail it out of here and call back later and tell them where we are. Don't forget we're stressed and vulnerable. They won't be disturbed by a little impulsive behavior. But hear what I say, Ange. If you want to go see your folks and your fiancé, I'm never going to criticize you for it. I looked in her eyes and her compassion was genuine, to the point that her eyes were moist. I think that's a good idea, Judy. Let's get the hell out of here, I said. Having made the decision, I acted straight away. I hadn't gotten as far as taking stuff out of the shopping bags yet. Aw, Ange? I heard Judy sounding hesitant for the first time. Aw, I haven't got any credit cards. I'm sorry, I just forgot. What say I get a limo down to the bank and sort that out? There's branches of the two banks I have card accounts with right in town and I should be able to get replacement cards straight away. It might take a couple of hours. Is that okay? I'm so sorry, honey. We might just have to wait a tiny bit longer. What could I say? Go ahead, Jude. I should have realized that was how it is. I'll just hang out until you get back. Why don't you come too, Amelia? I don't want you here alone and fretting. Not a bad idea. I'll call up reception. I picked up the phone and asked for a cab again and was told a limo would be there by the time we got downstairs. That was great. I sidled through the lobby with my head swiveling every which way so I could avoid my family or Nicole's. Shortly afterwards we on our way downtown to the banks. It didn't take as long as we thought it might. Judy arranged for replacement cards to be sent on to the Las Vegas branches of both banks for collection in 2 days' time. Right now they gave her the cash advances she asked for, but only after they called Jason to confirm that Judy was a fire victim. If they hadn't accepted the hotel's word, there would have been delays while ID was confirmed. We had the limo driver take us to a Hertz car rental agency, and in 20 minutes we were driving back to the hotel in a new Ford convertible. Judy parked outside and we went back upstairs one last time. I had Jason paged and asked him to come up and see us. It was a tired Jason who arrived soon after that. He had dark circled under his eyes and looked very stressed. Ladies? Is there something I can do? Yes, Jason, we're leaving. We're going to Las Vegas and we will get in touch with you once we know where we're staying. We hear that the fire was started by an employee in the kitchen. Is that true? We aren't quite sure yet, Miss Brightman. I have heard the same rumor and I don't know if it's true or not. The fire department was still making inquiries last I heard. How are Mr. Aronson's party taking the news? Asked Judy. I couldn't have brought myself to ask. Not well, Miss Brightman. I haven't mentioned Miss Bauer at all and I see no reason to, but the detectives may reveal the facts, and if there is an inquest it will certainly become public knowledge. Your decision to leave will help me and the hotel. The mission to clear the basement of the hotel is well underway, but there is so much rubble and still some fire hotspots, so I don't think Mr. Aronson will be found. I'm sorry, Miss Bauer, but there it is. I couldn't help myself, I burst into tears. I have discretionary authority to pass on cash to help victims of this tragedy, said Jason. Let me get you some more cash to help you out. I confess that I am now so tired I can't think straight, but it seems the hotel may be held responsible. I say I may be held responsible. Anyway, I don't see why you should suffer for the stupidity of one employee. Sorry, there may have been an employee who was careless. I need to shut up now, ladies. Please wait while I get a cash advance for you. 10 minutes later he was back with 2 envelopes stuffed with notes. I wish you well, ladies. Please sign this receipt for our records and please let me know where you end up staying. The police and fire departments will want to talk to you again. I signed the receipt and found out I had another $3,000. Holy shit, a gold mine. Judy got the same of course, and 10 minutes later we were headed north with the top up and the rain pouring down. Well, not quite. We stopped off on the way, so I checked up on my old wig. Heather said that it was beyond help and she'd had it put to sleep. That's all for now. See you in the next video. Please subscribe to my channel and support me at Patreon for more exclusive stories.